Welcome to Deception Watch News and Commentary. Today's commentary is about bizarre statements by Branham cult pastor Paul Haylett of Grace Tabernacle in Nampa, Idaho, who accuses newspaper reporters of being used by Satan. What did the newspaper reporters do to have such a damning accusation made against them? Is Pastor Paul Haylett justified with his comments, or is it slander? Let's examine the facts so you can decide by the evidence.
We have some professional, like journalist type people, getting paid to write scathing articles about the message and publish them in the newspaper. This is how low Satan will go.
Well, that is a strong statement. These newspaper reporters must have written some terrible reports. Let's look at some of the titles of their reports. Here is the title to one. Her father was a Branham message pastor, and then he started a polygamous cult. So the reporters are warning people of this illegal and dangerous sect of the Branham cult. But Pastor Paul Haylett says,
this is how low Satan will go.
Pastor Paul Haylett, can you answer the question, how is warning the public of polygamous cults evil? Let's look at another article written by the reporters. In this article, the reporters are exposing and warning of sexual abuse and cover-up in a Branham cult message church. A child molester was protected by a Branham message pastor, ignoring state laws that mandate reporting of such incidents. This case has led to an indictment, so how is it that the reporters' actions are satanic?
This is how low Satan will go.
Let's look at another article by these reporters. In this article, the reporters document horrific sexual child abuse by two of William Branham's closest associates with personal interviews of the victims. These atrocities against children is well documented in the newspaper report about the trailer park. Deborah Daulton Thibodeau, who was a victim as a child in the trailer park, wrote a book of her suffering sexual abuse in the Branham message group. The book, The Serpent's Tale, is well documented for accuracy. Pastor Paul Haylett, since the reporters interviewed Deborah Daulton Thibodeau for their articles, and she wrote a book about her abuse at the hands of Branham's close friends, he called his tape boys. Do you also accuse Deborah Daulton Thibodeau of being used by Satan, like you do the newspaper reporters? Paul Haylett, what did the reporters get wrong? Why is it wrong to let the public know the truth?
This is how low Satan will go.
Next, we will play the clip beyond where we previously stopped. But first, we have some comments about what you say. We find you mocking the newspaper reporters in a disparaging monologue. You portray them of having an agenda against Branham message churches and of being misinformed. Yet many Branham message church pastors knew for months the newspaper reporters were conducting interviews and would have interviewed any pastor who would have contacted them. The reporters' contact information is publicly advertised. This is confirmed by Branham cult pastor Barry Coffey when speaking to his congregation about the newspaper articles 2 months before you made your comments.
Most of you have been painfully aware of some of the negative publicity that we who believe the message of the hour have received in the articles that were published in the Hickory Daily Record. And I knew about this about a year ago, and they came and interviewed several churches. There was a reporter who came around and was doing investigative research on the message community, and had heard some comments about things, and then was developing these articles for over a year. And they interviewed a couple of brothers that we know and tried to get some other balanced information about it.
Pastor Paul Haylett. Coffey states the reporters were trying to get balanced information about Branham's The Message. Trying to get balanced information sounds like a professional reporter doing a good job. Do you agree? It should be noted here that in this sermon where you disparage the reporters, you never said you reached out to speak with the reporters. You never said you asked to be interviewed by them. Have you ever talked or emailed them? It appears that you attack the reporters based on your dislike of content of what is in their newspaper articles without offering any information to explain what is inaccurate. Paul, shouldn't you be helping the newspaper reporters expose child abuse, polygamy, and misogyny instead of criticizing them for accurately reporting it? Now let's watch the extended clip keeping in mind these facts.
I just love it, in case you guys don't know this, but now we have some professional, like journalist type people, getting paid to write scathing articles about the message and publish them in the newspaper. This is how low Satan will go. People who know one thing about the message, but they're a good writer. So they get a few little facts.
We pause here to correct Paul. The reporters did not have a few little facts. They had done interviews with Branham message pastors and with people who had left Branham churches. Paul's comment does not represent the reality of the effort put in by the reporters to be accurate with their articles.
It's kind of like the evening news. We watch it on the computer sometimes, but it's like the evening news. It's like, we're here at this fire. It appears that this fire is burning a house. And the house has caught on fire. And it appears the house is destroyed. Now, it could be arson, it could be children, might have been fireworks, could have been a cooking fire. We don't know.
We pause again because Paul is implying with his monologue that the reporters were uninformed. But this is false. As we previously said, the reporters were very thorough in their investigation and have been vindicated by law enforcement bringing indictments.
But anyway, we're here to report the house is on fire. You read the scathing articles about the message, their house is on fire. Yeah. They don't know when, where, why. They know nothing. Right. But Satan's here to report there's a house fire.
Pastor Paul Haylett, you said, and we quote, "Satan's here to report," seems to be a direct accusation against the reporters personally. Your monologue mocking the reporters' integrity, competence, and ethics appears to be defamatory and directly contrary to biblical warnings against slander. The reporters are documenting illegal and abhorrent behavior that destroys the lives of children. Why do you misrepresent the reporters by saying they know nothing? Why do you portray the reporters as not doing their due diligence for the articles when they did and it can be proven? You attack the newspaper reporters, but in this sermon you are silent on the perpetrators of the abuse. Why is that? The reporters show empathy and compassion for the victims in their reports, but in this sermon where you attack the newspaper reporters, we cannot find any sympathetic or supporting words from you for the victims. Why is that? Where can we find your criticism of message pastors who hid child abuse? The investigative reporters from Lee Enterprise newspapers that supply quality information to many communities across America deserve our gratitude and appreciation, not insults. This commentary makes no accusations and is intended to inspire self-reflection and critical thinking in the pursuit of truth.